Hello, this is Matthew Kenslow, author of Juggling the Issues, Living with Asperger Syndrome, and I'm over here at Ensign Intermediate School, which I'm part of their alumni, class of 2009. It is Wednesday, the 11th of December, 2019, and the reason why I'm here today is because 12 years ago today, on Tuesday, December 11th, 2007, I was in the midst of my first lockdown here at Ensign Intermediate School. So in fourth period, I was in my pre-algebra class in, I believe, room 37, which you could actually see behind me over there. The intercom went on, and the principal said something that I've been fearing for a long time. This is not a drill. Teachers lock your door, students get under the desk, and I was in the beginning of my first lockdown. So we were under our desks for quite a while. I believe we heard a helicopter go overhead, and it was kind of a bit of a solemn time. We didn't know what was happening. Pretty soon there was a knock on the door, and one of the people who worked in the offices told us that they have found, quote, vulnerable explosives in room 26, which ironically it was the detention room that year, and there's a suspicious package in a boy's locker. So we had to evacuate to the gymnasium, which is that semi-cylindrical roofed building over there. And I don't know how long we've been there, but we had to sit in that gymnasium for quite a while. A lot of things were in our mind, and we had no idea what was going on. So one of my friends just leaned over to me and told me, "I hope this isn't like Columbine." Thank you very much. I did not need to hear that at that moment. I was already frantic as it was. Eventually, we all had to evacuate to the fields. And we were at this field. Some people were over there on that field. And I was way over there by, if you could see the American flag, but we had to stay there for who knows how long, like hours. I mean, the entire lockdown lasted for about a few hours at that point. So as we were sitting down on the fields, some people, classmates, started to talk to each other and started to play games like hot potato with each other and try to pass the time. But the only thing that nags me to this day is that a lot of people were complaining that they were hungry. So fourth period was right before lunch, and obviously we had to miss lunch. And I was thinking, how in this universe could you possibly be hungry during a lockdown, which we were told that there were vulnerable explosives? I kept on looking back at the classrooms, and I just imagined one by one they'd just go up in flames and with a pillar of fire above them. And I was just worried about that. I was also worried about my mom and grandpa finding out, because I didn't want them to worry, and then they would come over and such. But apparently my mom did find out. I turned around and I saw a familiar Ford Taurus coming down the street and parking. And I saw a person come out, and it was my mom. I'm like, "What are you doing here? How did you find out about this?" So later my grandpa came, and we got permission from a person that worked at the school for my grandpa to bring over snacks and water. And so he did so. He came back, and he was throwing over some granola bars and water for the students. And then somebody else who didn't know that they had permission came over and told them to stop. But we had permission from a person that worked there. The entire school was surrounded by police officers and even a news van somewhere around here. At one point, people started to get up and leave, and I thought, oh, it's over, finally. But it was false hope, because they told us to sit back down. So we were just sitting around, and I was worried that at any second the entire school was going to be ablaze, and as it turned out, it wasn't. And we got out 5 minutes early at 2:35 p.m. The parents lined this sidewalk right over here, and we got to leave. So we went back inside the classroom for a few minutes, and our pre-algebra teacher told us that student will never set foot on campus again. And I didn't find out who it was until later on, but this individual was a 12-year-old 7th grader, and at the beginning of the year he was in a couple of my classes. We had no idea that, you know, he was just feeling lonely and sad and got mad and decided to bring a strange paper bag to school. Apparently it was, if I remember correctly, it was like water, acid, batteries, and such. So it wouldn't have made like a huge explosion, but of course you have to take those things seriously. And the bomb squad came. I'll probably have links to Getty images in the description below, and also an article from the LA Times for the official news story. And we did make the news. That was my day 12 years ago today. So why did I announce that I'm an author at the beginning of the video? Well, it's because I mentioned this day inside this book. So here's the part in my book, in the short story Habits and Worries, on page 56, where I mentioned December 11th, 2007. So I put, as a real-life example in 7th grade, I was really anxious that at any moment the principal was going to speak through the intercom and say that there was a man with a gun or something. I had been meaning to tell somebody about this fear, like my mother, the principal, or RSP teacher, to release the tension, but I kept neglecting to remember. Then on Tuesday, December 11th, 2007, 12 years ago today, something similar happened. The principal said over the intercom, "This is not a drill." He had all of us go beneath our desks and had the teachers lock their doors. It was my first lockdown, and it lasted for hours. Police and the bomb squad came, and we made it on the news. Apparently a student brought what may have possibly been a small homemade bomb. I even knew this person. He was in a couple of my classes. And then it goes on. So that's my day 12 years at Ensign Intermediate School. And here's the article, OC Boy 12 held after bomb material is found. And again, I'll leave a link in the description below. Here I am on 16th Street, heading toward Irvine, and 10 years ago today, December 11th, 2009, I had a slight encounter right over here in this spot. I was walking down here and I saw one of my friends from physical education class, in which that was the first class of my day that day, and he looked up at me and said, "Oh, hi Matt." And I said, "Hi." Sort of around here, we sort of passed each other. We turned around and I was looking at him and he was looking at me, and for no reason at all he said something that was kind of a bit out of character, and I never forgot it. So here's a story that I don't think I've told anybody for 1 decade. And so he looked up at me and said, "Newport Harbor High School is going to die today. It's going to go boom." And he turned away and walked off. And I just don't exactly know why he said that. So you could imagine, here's where the, my mind starts to kick in. I'm like, no, there's no way. There's no way he's serious. I mean, it was raining that day, or starting to rain. It was stormy, low barometric pressure. So I'm like, I have to get out of this worry right here. So I continued to walk towards school, and since he was in my physical education class that morning, I thought, well, I'll see him again. He probably forgot something at home. The thing is I didn't. He always had 3 friends with him, so I was also looking for them in the locker room. Finally, I turned around and I see those 3 friends, and they were just slowly walking past me, totally out of character, as if they're tired, exhausted, or they had foreknowledge of something bad to happen. That type of countenance on them. But I didn't see that other friend who told me what he said. So I was trying to tell my mind, listen, everything's going to be okay. The school's going to be here tomorrow. Don't worry about it, Matthew. I was telling myself, and apparently nothing happened. The strange thing is I never saw that friend again that day. But of all days, he said it on the 2-year anniversary of that lockdown. So I had that in my mind. But of course, as it turned out, it was in my mind. So it turned out to be a great day.